Vegetative propagation or vegetative reproduction. Vegetative propagation in plants is a method of asexual reproduction in which the part other than that seeds are has a propagate and the structure unit that is employed in place of that seed. In fact, it is the method of propagation in those plants which have lost their capacity to produce seeds or they produce non-viable seeds. For example, banana, rose, pineapple, etc. Among flowering plants, every part of the body such as root, stem, leaf and buds takes part in vegetative propagation. It is of two types, that is natural and artificial. Some common natural methods of vegetative propagation are that modified tuberous roots can be propagated vegetatively when plant is in soil. For example, sweet potato. Second one, that underground modified stem such as rhizomes like ginger, banana, etc., corns, and that bulbs like garlic, and the tuber for that potato, and sucker that mint. Some aerial stems such as offset, stolon, strawberry, etc., develop into a new plants. Some plants develop adventitious buds on their leaves, which develop into a new plants like bryophyllum. The second type is that artificial method of vegetative propagation. It is a propagation are man-made and developed by plant growers and the horticulture for commercial production. Some common artificial methods are cutting, layering, and then grafting. Cutting a small piece of any plant organs like stem, roots, and leaf used for that propagation is called as cutting. The stem cutting are most commonly employed for propagation of many horticulture plants such as grapes, rose, sugarcane, etc. Second one, that layering. In layering, the roots are artificially induced on that stem branches before they are detached from the parent plant for that propagation. Layering can be done by simple layering, mound layering, and by that air layering. Next one is that grafting. It is the method of obtaining a superior quality plants from two different plants by taking the root system of one plant and the shoot system of another. The plant whose root system is taken that we call as stalk, while the plants whose shoot system is taken as scion. Thus, grafting is a method in which cut stem of two plants, stalk and scion, are joined to each other by way that they develop into a single plant. And the next one is that tissue culture, which is mainly useful today's life. That is tissue culture or micropropagation. Tissue culture is a modern technique of vegetative propagation. This technique is also called as that micropropagation. In this technique, a small part of a tissue is called from that plant or in a ground or artificial culture media in a container containing nutrients medium under aseptic condition, that means that free from that microbes. The tissue utilizes nutrient from the media, proliferates and form an unorganized undifferentiated mass of cells that we call as callus. Some portion of callus is separated and transferred to another medium containing hormones, and these hormones or growth regulators induce differentiation and plantlets are produced. The mature plants are then transferred to that field. This technique is employed for that quick multiplication of commercially useful plants such as orchids, chrysanthemum, etc. Spore formation. It is the last type of asexual reproduction. A spore is a single or several celled reproductive structure that detach from the parent and give rise directly or indirectly to a new plant. Reproduction by the formation of spore is a common method of asexual reproduction in some bacteria and most of that fungi. Spores are unicellular bodies formed by cell division in that parent organism. Spores are generally very small and light, thereby easily dispersed by wind, water, and animals. Some have thick resistive walls which enable them to survive in even unfavorable conditions. During the growth of that fungus, rhizopus, or that small rounded bulb-like structure develop at the top of that erect hyphae. Such structure are called sporangia. inside each sporangium nucleus divides several times, and each nucleus gets surrounded by a little amount of cytoplasm to become spore. Large number of spores are formed inside each sporangium. After some time, the sporangium bursts and the spores are released in the air. When these spores land on that food or soil under favorable conditions, they germinate into new individuals. Sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction may be defined as the production of offspring, that is new individual, by the fusion of two gametes, usually one from male parent and other from female parent, that form a diploid zygote which develop into a mature organism. We know that two different individuals in a population would have quite different patterns of accumulated variation. Combining variation from two or more individuals would thus create new combination of variants. Each combination would be novel since it would involve two different individuals. The sexual mode of reproduction incorporates such a process of combining DNA from two different individuals during reproduction. If each new generation is to be the combination of DNA copies from two pre-existing individuals, then each new generation will end up having twice the amount of DNA that the previous generation had. This is likely to mess up the control of cellular apparatus by the DNA. Besides, if each generation doubles its DNA, fairly soon there will be only DNA on Earth, with no space for anything else. Then the reproduction involves the fusion of two gametes, that is male and female gametes. In majority of animals, including human beings, male and female individuals are separate. That is, an individual may be either male or female. Such organisms are called unisexual. That is, they have only one sex in one individual. Some plants are also unisexual, like papaya, that cucurbitain, etc. But majority of that flowering plants and a few animals like tapeworm, earthworm, starfish, etc. are bisexual or hermaphrodite. That is, each individual have that both male and female sex organs. Sexual reproduction in flowering plants. In flowering plants, all the steps of sexual reproduction occur within specialized reproductive organs that we call as flower. Thus, a flower may be defined as a specialized condensed reproductive shoots of plants which encloses the essential reproductive parts. The flower in which both male and female reproductive parts are present, like hibiscus, mustard, are called as bisexual flower. The flower in which only a single sex organs, either male or female, is present, that we call as a unisexual. For example, papaya and watermelon. Structure of a typical flower. A flower bears an axis on which all the parts are situated. The axis has two parts, a stalk or pedicel and a swollen upper portion called that thalamus. It is on the thalamus that all flower parts are based. A typical flower consists of four main balls, namely calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. First one, calyx, that remain attached to the base of the thalamus and forms the outermost wall of the flower. The whole constitute that the individual units called sepals. The function of sepal is to protect the flower when it is in the form of bud. Second one, corolla. The inner wall of that flower lying inside sepal is called corolla. The individual unit of corolla are called petals. Petals are generally large and brightly colored to attract that various pollinator. Calyx and corolla, that are non-essential parts of the flower because they are not directly involved in reproduction. Then the next is androecium, that is stamen. Androecium constitutes that the individual units called stamens, and the stamens are male reproductive organs of a plant which form the third wall of that flower. There may be several stamens in a flower. A single stamen is made up of two parts, that is a stalk called filamen and that anther, a swollen, that is usually bilobed structure attached to the distal end of that filament. A bilobed anther bears 4 inner chambers that called as pollen sac or microsporangia. The anther produce powdery particles called pollen grains, and the pollen grains contain that male gametes. And the last is that gynoecium or carpel. The carpel or that pistil is the female reproductive organs of the plants, and the carpel is situated in the center of the flower, has a flask-shaped structure. A carpel is made up of 3 parts, that is stigma, style and ovary. The distal part of the carpel is called stigma, and the stigma is responsible for receiving pollen during pollination. And the style is the middle part of the carpel. It is an elongated tubular structure which connects that stigma with ovary. The swollen, that means the basal swollen part of carpel, is ovary, and the ovary bears several ovules, and the ovules remain attached to the ovary wall by placenta. The ovule bears an opening at its base that we call as micropyle. Each ovule has an embryo sac that bears haploid egg, the female gametes in plants, and the fusion of male gametes and female gametes takes place inside this embryo sac. Pollination. The process of transfer of pollen grains from the anther of a flower to the stigma of the same flower or another flower is called pollination. Pollination is of 2 types, that is self-pollination and cross-pollination. If the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the same flower or to the stigma of another flower of the same plant is known as self-pollination. Self-pollination generally takes place in bisexual flowers because they have both male and female gametes in them. It may also occur between unisexual flowers on the same plant. The second type is the transfer of pollen grains from the anther of the flower of one plant to the stigma of the flower of another plant of the same species is called cross-pollination. Cross-pollination occurs in unisexual as well as bisexual flowers. The agents which help in cross-pollination are wind, water, insects, birds, etc. According to the basis of their agents of cross-pollination, it will be classified into 2 types, that is biotic and abiotic pollination. That means in biotic pollination, the pollination takes place with the help of this living organism, but in abiotic, it is through that non-living organism. Biotic again be classified into that entomophily, that means pollination by insect, ornithophily, that by birds, chiropterophily, that by bats, and malcophily by snails. And then abiotic pollination also be classified into 2 types, that is anemophily, that pollination by wind, and that last is hydrophily by air.